It would help. It would help with the fight. And I'll go buy an orb. Oh, I better go turn my seals in, which means yeah, we'll do a Wings of Fury real quick. In my storage should be my seals, I think. Did you sort? Yeah. Is there any other stacks or anything? There's a stack of bird feathers that might sell. Lightning crystal, I'll use those. I'll sell the earth, and that's some money, a little bit of money. Oh, my seals, right, my seals, I forgot. I don't know, I am tired, and I don't believe I should do this. I'll do this in the morning. I will not do this tonight. And I'll just go on to level further. I mean, I'm not scared of Wings of Fury. I just don't want to do it when I'm brain dead. I don't want to make any mistakes, you know? I want to be fresh and caffeinated and stuff. I used to sing this song. It's incredibly insensitive, but I don't care. Like, I came up with it like the week after they supposedly caught Osama bin Laden. And I used to dance around the house with my friends. And I'd sing my little ditty, Obama ka Osama, Obama ka Osama. And we started like fucking conga lines, Obama ka Osama. Because I didn't know anybody in my crew or anybody that I knew that bought any of that shit except for my fucking parents. That's it. Like, I don't know anybody who swallowed the 9/11 sinker. And so I literally could start a little dance in our fucking living room. Obama ka Osama. Because nobody believed in any of it. I don't believe any of us believed in Obama either. It was kind of like, it's like kind of like singing about, it's like kind of like Christmas songs or something. It's like this something that's not really based in reality, you know, but I still enjoy. And so we used to dance around the room saying Obama ka Osama, Obama ka Osama, Obama ka Osama, because it's like that's how much of a joke that entire fucking lie, that Matrix lie, whatever you want to call it, like that just I want to call it let's call it a pit of super glue quagmire of quagmire lie that just gets you caught up in tacky super glue. You just can't get out of it. It's a fucking terrible lie. And so the Obama caught Osama, and I used to every time they brought it up on the news or they would talk about it, I just like couldn't really. I still can't really handle that fucking lie. And I just go, Osama, Obama, Osama. We used to sing this one a lot. I wanted to do it as a punk song, but they were like, nah. Like, man, someone should have made fun of it. But everybody's too afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them. They fucked me already. They already got me. They already ruined my life. I can't do anything about them. They fucked me. So, I mean, yeah, they've taken quite a few years of my life. I mean, I can't really, I mean, they don't fuck me. I can't do anything about that. So, we sing our little Osama ka Obama ka Osama, Obama, and the whole country was like this too. But the whole country was doing the shuck and jive like Obama ka Osama. The whole country was like thrumming along. We got Osama. No, you swallowed a lie for 20 some odd years about how some rich white wasp didn't kill 3,000 of your own citizens, and then they fed you some lie about some dude that you've never met or heard of before somehow killed 3,000 of our own citizens. And I was just Zero Dark 30 and all this other Osama bin Laden just straight up establishment lie, Hollywood lie bullshit. It's just not okay with me, man. It's not okay with me. I know that people die overseas and stuff happened, and I know that I know what they believe. But I never did ever give that lie any sort of fucking credence ever. The day it was happening, I was like, this is not some fucking Middle Eastern country. Bamaka Osama, Bamaka Osama, Bamaka Osama. I used to do the little devil dance. It's like a Simpsons parody. It's like a little bit of a pays homage to Simpsons. I am evil Homer. I am evil Homer. Bamaka Osama, Bama. And they rattle this lie for 7 years or something like that. The media all day long, they seem to really want us to believe it. Hollywood did movies about it. And I'm like, yeah, that one, I'm sure you killed some poor dude. And that's about as negative and as far as I'm going to go with this. I'm sure you killed some dude, yeah. And we'll leave it at that. I'm sure you killed some dude in the Middle East, yeah. That's about as far as I'll let you go with that one before I say utter, complete horsecockery bullshit. Straight, utter, complete, just fabrication. Just, and that's all I have to say about that. So yeah, I was just singing. It's kind of reminded me of that for some reason. Anyways, some reason I just wanted to sing my little song here. Like to me, that's the biggest rabbit hole of all. The lie that the entire country believed and stuff. I don't know. So, free to play, you can obtain all cosmetic items just by playing the game. Premium benefits, elite status is active for all accounts. Easy leveling, every character starts with a level 70 scroll. Improves experience if you choose to level normally. No open world PvP, only consensual PvP through duels, GVG, battlegrounds. No junk stat rolls, easier artesian tests, less resources required, improves success rates, enchantment advantage, gear does not lose enchantment levels, gear does not get damaged, reduced gold cost, increased item drop rates, additional item drops, custom token shops, custom event shops, custom mystery and dungeon shops. Test your skills, costumes, getting started. Been a while since you wanted Arborea. Not sure where to start with such a vast world. Now we're going to wonder where. Let's look at their starter guide. Complete stepstone. Oh yeah, that's it, huh? So can we just do this? Oh shit, no. That sounds bad to me. Am I aggroed? Nope. Ooh, you left a corpse for me. Go kill another corpse for me and leave me the skin. Yes, there is a rogue back here looking at your body that you left. Yes, there is. You always suspected there was. And there is. There's a rogue back there behind you. I'll help you kill it. Nope, no, I didn't help you kill it, but I'll help you skin it. I'll just help you skin this right here. Thanks. Gotta go find stupid cones, and I don't know where those are. It's like, come on, man, I need a cone. I might try Terra. I mean, what are the chances I'll catch AIDS from this? Probably not pretty good. Or probably not very big, but... I wonder if the private server is like this minimal client that basically doesn't really like take up any frame rate at all. It'd be fun to just endlessly grind on private servers that I actually like, for games that I actually like. Yeah. Is it the only one? Terra Starscape. Yeah, I mean... You know, it would be... If New World wasn't better, I would do this, but I just know New World is better. I know it is. To find another stupid pine cone. So annoying. Yeah, but I would like to turn in the seals and buy an orb. That would be something that would be definitely nice. So we'll take any of the seals that we've got here. Seals. I know I have like 200 seals here. It's kind of crazy. Yep, I do. Look, got me hella seals. Hella seals. All right, we gonna get it. We gonna get it. Gonna get me some astral rings. Actually, I don't know why I don't go right now. Honestly, it would be good to get like a run done. And I don't care if I die. It looks like it's not even really that bad of a run, really. Shit, I mean, like, yeah, I have the room to like take the loot right now. Who cares? I'll just go post and then leave. Let's listen to some music. Or no, I'm listening to this video. That's right. So let's go. Mysterious, fascinating world of number stations, right?
TV, a wonderful documentary streaming service for all of you big brains out there. Their mission is to tell the great stories that have defined the human experience. And with more than 3,000 excellent programs available on Magellan, it's hard to stop watching once you start. They've got everything from the Greeks, the Great War, plus modern history, biographies, scientific profiles, true crime, and so much more. And their team adds more content every week. And what's one thing you love about paid streaming services? There are no ads, just lots of great content. Now, if you're ready to dive into the holiday season, you can head on over to Magellan right now to check out their documentary, The Legend of Santa, which explores not only the history of Santa Claus, but how different cultures throughout the world have incorporated it. Or, if you're more of a classic to death out out fan looking for highly entertaining war content, you can head on over and check out their 8-part docuseries, Combat Machines. This holiday season, you guys can take advantage of a special deal with Magellan by clicking on the link in the description below. You can snag a buy one, get one free deal for annual memberships. That way, you can give the gift of Magellan and still keep a little something for yourself. It's content for days and days, so let Magellan hook you and a friend up. You'll be glad you did. Link below. And now today's video. Shortwave radio signals, which occupy the radio frequency band between 3 and 30 megahertz, have the unique ability to bounce or skip off the Earth's ionosphere, allowing them to propagate over vast distances. This has attracted a devoted international community of shortwave radio enthusiasts who exploit the unique properties of the medium to listen to and communicate with shortwave stations from around the globe. But among the vast ecosystem of amateur broadcasters, international news services, and emergency communications networks, every so often, shortwave operators stumble upon something truly eerie and bizarre. Take the frequency 4625 kHz, known to radio amateurs as UVB76, or simply the buzzer. First discovered in 1985, the buzzer broadcasts nothing but a constant monotonous buzz made up of 2 distinct tones, repeating 25 times per minute. Every few minutes, this buzzing is interrupted by a voice, which proceeds to read out a string of random words in Russian. The buzzing then resumes, carrying on 365 days a year.
Why?
The source of UVB76 has been traced to 2 sites outside of Moscow.
Dear God, why? What does it mean? Fucking humans and their weird games in the background. I'm always so obsessed with this idea that the humans are in the back room somewhere doing stuff behind my back. And sometimes when I was young, I would go and look, and they'd be like doing cocaine, or they'd be like fucking, or something dumb, and you're like, what? Like, so people are doing weird dark stuff in the back, and I was kind of figured it. But you going back, and sometimes it's not there. Because occasionally you find out someone's doing shortwave radio things with each other. Like, man.
That is used to probe the ionosphere for radio interference.
Yeah, and what are they saying? You know, is it our national secrets? That would be my biggest fear.
More likely, however, is that the buzzer belongs to a curious.
I should go talk to them. They're probably so much more interesting than video game people. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Intelligence services to this day. Welcome to the strange, mysterious world of number stations.
Yeah, number stations. Cool.
Radio itself, with the first examples appearing in Europe during the First World War. Their numbers exploded, however, in the Cold War era, with the phenomenon first coming to the attention of radio amateurs around
number stations.
Number stations are so named because they typically broadcast nothing but seemingly random strings of numbers, letters, or sometimes words. These messages are transmitted in a variety of formats, including Morse code, phrase or frequency shifting, and voice, either real or synthesized. Each string of numbers is usually preceded by a unique identifier or call sign, which often forms the basis for the colourful nicknames given to the stations by radio amateurs. One of the most famous number stations, the Lincolnshire Poacher, used as its call sign the first bars of the English folk song of the same name, synthesised to sound like a Calliope organ and repeated 12 times. This was followed by a British accented female reading a string of numbers. First heard in the 1970s, the Lincolnshire Poacher initially broadcasted from Bletchley Park in Buckinghamshire, but later moved to the Royal Air Force Station at Akrotiri on the island of Cyprus. It ceased broadcasting in 2008. A similar station called Cherry Ripe, which also used an English folk song as its call sign, broadcast from somewhere in the South Pacific until 2009. Other famous number stations include Ready Ready, Allo Allo, The Englishman, The Englishwoman, Oblique, Swedish Rhapsody, Nancy Adams Susan, Cynthia, The Babbler, Squeaky Wheel, The Pip, and Magnetic Field, the latter named.
Go look at Tuna Sushi real quick.
Electronic composer Jean-Michel Jarre. While many of these stations broadcast in English, not all originated in English-speaking countries.
No, I'd
For
imagine
example,
not.
Ready Ready and The Babbler are thought to have originated in Bulgaria, The Englishman in Russia, The English Lady in Ukraine, and Oblique in Poland. The eerie and mysterious nature of number stations soon attracted a devoted community of radio amateurs who began to actively seek out, classify, and study these enigmatic broadcasts. The number of recorded number stations quickly grew so large that in 1993, a station tracking group called Enigma 2000 developed a designation system.
They talked about this in Disco
This
Elysium.
system classifies stations using a letter prefix indicating the type of broadcast and a number indicating its order of discovery. For example, E indicates a station broadcasting in English, G in German, S in Slavic, V in other languages, M in Morse code, and X in all other modes such as frequency and phase shifting. But as obsessive and meticulous as this might sound, some aficionados have taken their obsession with number stations to even more absurd heights. From the moment he stumbled upon his first number station in 1992, British radio amateur Akin Fernandez was quoted, explaining in a 2004 interview, "You're listening, and all of a sudden you come across a really strong signal. It's the most chilling thing you've ever heard in your life. These signals are going everywhere, and they could be for anything. There's nothing like it." Over the next 5 years, Fernandez spent nearly every waking hour meticulously recording and categorizing every number station that he could track down. This work culminated in 1997 with the release of the Connect Project. This is one of the strangest albums in the history of recording music. Named after the Czech word for end, which Fernandez heard often on the airwaves, the Connect Project comprised 4 CDs filled with over 280 minutes of excerpts from a number of stations around the world, along with a 74-page booklet detailing the background and details of each broadcast. While the album initially sold only 2,000 copies, it had a strangely significant impact on the world of music, being sampled in a variety of other artistic projects, including the band Porcupine Tree's 1999 album Stupid Dream, Wilco's 2001 album Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, and the soundtrack of 2001 Cameron Crowe film Vanilla Sky. But just what are these eerie broadcasts for? Are they merely pranks, placeholders for certain radio frequencies, or something more sinister? While for decades number stations remained one of the great unsolved mysteries of radio broadcasting, starting in the 1980s,
12,500, son of a bitch.
Enigmatic purpose. In 1988, British
We're gonna
intelligence
buy
detected
it.
a strong radio signal emanating from the flat of Dutch national Erwin van
Can't believe I just blew that much money on that, but that's alright.
Sitting in front of a
I actually want to
shortwave
get
radio,
through it. I
listening
want
to
to
a
win
number
it.
station based in Czechoslovakia. Code books were later discovered in a hollowed-out bar of soap, and Van Halen was revealed to be a Czech agent named Václav Jelinek. Later that year, when the communist regime of Romanian dictator Nicolae Ceausescu collapsed, all number stations broadcasting from Romania abruptly stopped. And in October 2011, when
Gotta,
German police raided
get
the
some
Marburg
drink.
home
Oh, yeah,
of
my
Andreas and Heidrun Anschlag, they caught the couple sitting at a shortwave radio receiver receiving coded instructions from Moscow. When interrogated, the Anschlags revealed that they always received instructions at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, a schedule that happened to coincide perfectly with a Russian number station known as XVA.
And they hung 'em.
Led experts to suspect that number stations are in fact a clever means of solving a classic problem faced by nations trying to
Communication.
communicate with their agents abroad. Secure communication.
How do you communicate in a fascist age? You can't. Not without being intercepted across 85,000 different little pipelines. You can't. So number stations are it. How do you get around the fucking censorship? It's live and it's real. People aren't even aware it's there, but it is. If you were to try to freely talk to your friend in China, you'd probably run across about 85,000 different little barriers and stuff that would run. They'd let you do it, But they would check what you were doing.
Communication is one of the key pillars of spycraft. Throughout history, spies and their handlers have come up with increasingly sophisticated methods of keeping secret messages safe.
What am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm going to
objects, a craft known as steganography, to
this
obscure
right?
them using
Yeah, this
codes
is
and
right.
ciphers. But simply rendering a message unreadable to the enemy is no guarantee of security, as merely being caught sending or receiving a coded message can be enough to expose and condemn a suspected spy. And the steady march of technology only made matters worse, for as easy as it was to intercept a letter or telegram, it was even easier to tap a phone or listen in on a radio signal. This was the dilemma facing the All-Russian Cooperative Society, or ARCOS, in the 1920s. Officially, ARCOS was a diplomatic body governing economic trade between the UK and the newly formed Soviet Union. However, intercepts of encrypted Soviet radio signals by the British Secret Intelligence Service, or SIS, revealed that the organisation was in fact a front for Soviet espionage activities in the country. In May 1927, the British government launched a raid against ARCOS headquarters in London, where they discovered a secret room filled with workers hurriedly burning reams of secret documents. Realising that the British had been reading and decrypting the broadcasts for years, almost overnight the Soviet OGPU intelligence service, the precursor to the KGB, changed the way it communicated with its agents abroad. Most significantly, the OGPU switched to an enciphering system known as one-time pads, randomly generated single-use ciphers whose keys are the same size as the plain text being encoded, eliminating any repeats that can be exploited by code breakers. So long as each key is only used once, one-time pads are considered mathematically impossible to crack and are an absolutely secure form of encryption. To prevent the keys from falling into enemy hands, one-time pads are often printed on water-soluble or flammable paper, so they can easily be soaked, swallowed, or burned. The absolute security afforded by one-time pads allowed the Soviets to broadcast coded messages in the open on common civilian radio frequencies. This way, while anyone could theoretically intercept the signal, only those with the one-time key could decipher it. And as it was impossible to tell who the signal was intended for, this system provided a useful degree of plausible deniability for agents, as Akin Fernandez explains. Quote, "This system is completely secure because the messages can't be tracked. The recipients could be anywhere. It is easy. You just send the spies to a country and get them to buy a radio. They know where to tune to and when." The system, known as One-Way Voice Link, or OWVL, was quickly adopted by a variety of countries, including the UK, which during the Second World War transmitted instructions to the French resistance and other Allied agents in occupied Europe via
Number
coded messages embedded in
stations.
BBC radio broadcasts. Later, SIS and other intelligence agencies established dedicated number stations to communicate with their agents in the field, using the long-range capabilities of shortwave radio to carry their secret messages to every corner of the globe. As espionage expert Rupert Allison explains, nobody has found a more convenient and expedient way of communicating with an agent. Their sole purpose is for intelligence agencies to communicate with their agents in denied areas, a territory where it is difficult to use a consensual form of communications. Indeed, while number stations might seem like an outmoded relic of the Cold War, made obsolete by the advent of computers, the internet, and other sophisticated communications technology, in reality, quite the opposite is true. Every message sent on a computer or over the internet leaves a digital trace, making absolute security difficult to achieve without incredibly strict communications protocols and sophisticated encryption. Numbers stations' broadcasts, on the other hand, are untraceable, efficient, and cost-effective, meaning the system still has a place in the modern landscape of high-tech espionage. Perhaps the most famous recent espionage case involving a number station is the 1998 Attention case, in which 5 agents in the Cuban WASP network were arrested in Miami. One piece of evidence later used to convict the agents of espionage was that they had received instructions from a Cuban-based number station known as Attention. 3 years earlier, FBI agents had entered the home.
I love my 3 games. It's so good.
Decryption software from his laptop, allowing the FBI to decode Attention broadcasts. These messages included instructions to recruit local contacts and intelligence sources, a greeting for International Women's Day on May the 8th, and a warning against accepting flights from Brothers to the Rescue, a Miami-based anti-Castro organization. Interestingly, the only reason Attention was known to be of Cuban origin in the first place is because a technical error resulted in a snippet of a Radio Havana broadcast becoming mixed in with the signal. More recently, another Cuban number station was involved in the case of Ana Montes, a senior defense intelligence analyst who in 2002 was convicted of spying for the Cuban government for nearly 17 years. According to
Naughty,
prosecutors, Montes
dirty
received
Cuban
her instructions
spy.
via shortwave radio and decoded them using one-time pads printed on water-soluble paper. North Korea has also made extensive use of number stations, suddenly resuming broadcasts in July 2016 after a 16-year hiatus. This is thought to be an act of psychological warfare meant to put Western intelligence analysts on edge. But what of BB-76, the mysterious buzzer that barely seems to broadcast anything but its signature droning tone? While no government agency has yet admitted to operating the station, the most likely suspect is the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, or SVR, the agency to which German spies Andreas and Hydrant Anschlag belonged. And while the buzzer and similar Russian stations like The Pip and Squeaky Wheel do not fit the typical profile of number stations, experts believe this is because they are on standby, kept in reserve for a future conflict or major deployment of Russian agents. The mysterious buzz, then, is likely just a placeholder meant to discourage other broadcasters from using that particular frequency. Evidence for this theory emerged in 2013, when after nearly 30 years of nothing but buzzing and brief number strings, UVB-76 suddenly broadcast the ominous message, Command 135 issued. According to radio enthusiast Maris Goldmanis, this was likely a test message meant to bring the whole broadcast system onto a simulated war footing. So, as unsettling as UVB-76's endless monotonous drone might be, should that drone ever stop, it might be a sign that something very, very bad is about to happen. So I really hope you found this video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't know about this. Fucking sweet. Yeah, learned something new. What happened to... Oops, yeah, no, that's gotta go. And you killed my video, I guess, apparently. Did you kill my video? Yeah, you did. You killed my video. Go back, you idiot. Looking for fucking, I don't really understand why I don't see. Yeah, there we go.
And oftentimes they sound very unsettling. It can be very unsettling to listen to some person's voice read off a bunch of numbers and letters, and to know it's an encoded message, but there's really no way you can know what it means. Between the mid-1960s and 2008, there was a number station operating out of Cyprus that many people could tune into and listen to. And although till this day no world government has claimed it as their own, many people believe it was being operated by the British Secret Intelligence Service. Publicly, no one ever cracked this number station, and this is what it sounded like. Bug chasers. There is a subculture of men who actively seek out acquiring HIV through a male partner, and these people are often referred to as bug chasers.
What?
This is not a particularly large or prominent community, but it does exist. People who are in this community seem to do it for a couple different reasons, but it seems like the main reason people do this is because it provides a sense of danger and excitement, or it provides a sense of risk, or it provides a sense of community. The Wyoming incident. So what this entry is referring to is a video that's been floating around the internet since the mid-2000s. What this video depicts is a local news station in Wyoming doing its typical nightly broadcast, and then completely out of the blue, the video cuts to something completely different. The video cuts to footage of a man's face flashing on the screen, alongside some distorted and kind of unsettling audio and some cryptic messages flashing on the screen as well. This video has been floating around the internet since the early 2000s and has been reposted a lot of times on different websites, and no one certainly knows the origins or the creator of this video. But at some point, a creepypasta got attached to this video, and the way this creepypasta goes is, at some point in the mid-2000s, a local news station in Wyoming was hijacked. The hijacker of this news station played a mysterious video that had a physical effect on the viewers. Supposedly, the frequencies that play during this video can lead viewers to have a number of health effects. Supposedly, after viewing this video, viewers reported to the hospital with headaches and vomiting, and some viewers' eyes started vibrating uncontrollably. Now, of course, the Wyoming incident never actually happened. There's no documentation of anybody reporting to any hospitals after watching the mysterious Wyoming broadcast. So this video is, of course, fake. But thanks to the fact that a lot of the information regarding the origins of this video are very hazy, and there's also been a lot of misinformation spread regarding this video. There's a lot of people out there who falsely believe that the Wyoming incident actually took place. Cannibal Cafe. So this entry is referring to a website called Cannibal Cafe. This website was a gathering place for people who had fantasies of cannibalism. This website wasn't even on the dark web. It was launched in 2001 and you could just view it on the ClearNet. This website featured techniques you could use to prepare human flesh for consumption. It contained directions on how you could obtain human meat. This website even featured a section where it listed off a couple different people the website said it was selling for consumption. Whether or not this section of the website was fake or not is still unclear, but no one can find documentation of any of the people on this section of the website missing, so I'm leaning towards the notion that this section of the website was fake. This website also featured a discussion board where people talked about cannibalism-related things. A man by the name of Armin Maywes, who is a pretty infamous cannibal, was a frequent on the Cannibal Cafe forums. He made a couple posts on this website asking for people who'd be interested in being killed and eaten. Although he never did find a victim on this website, he did eventually actually meet a guy by the name of Burned Jurgen Brandes who wanted to be killed and eaten by him. They met through a Yahoo group and they actually did end up meeting up, and Armin Maywes did kill and eat Burned Jurgen Brandes. It's kind of an interesting situation because Burned Jurgen Brandes actually wanted to be killed and eaten. He consented to being cannibalized, but Armin Maywes was sent to life in prison anyway. Reportedly, Armin Maywes recorded himself cooking and eating Burned Jurgen Brandes, and people say that this video is floating around the internet somewhere, but it's kind of hard to tell if this is real or fake. Scum Manifesto. The Scum Manifesto is a book written by a woman by the name of Valerie Salonis. Among other things, this book argues that men are the root of all evil, and people should overthrow society and eliminate the male species. The book specifically argues that men are no longer biologically necessary for the human race, because now, thanks to modern science, females can reproduce by themselves. It's a very extreme piece of feminist literature, and it's not really taken seriously by anyone at this point. The author of this book, Valerie Salonis, was not really a particularly mentally stable individual. Later in her life, she actually attempted to murder Andy Warhol. In 1968, she went to Andy Warhol's art studio and shot him, and then turned herself over to the police. She was then later diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and given a 3-year prison sentence. Alt-woke. So before we talk about alt-woke, we need to first talk about the term woke. So there's not really a single agreed-on definition of the term woke, but typically when someone says that they're woke, it means that they're aware of current racial injustices, and sometimes it also means that they're aware of current economic and social injustices too. Within recent years, though, many people have kind of become frustrated with this term woke and what it's supposed to mean. Now, there's some people out there that nowadays think that the term woke is kind of just a buzzword that means I stick to the leftist status quo, and so it's led to this idea of alt-woke. Alt-woke is kind of supposed to be a new spin on the idea of woke, and it's supposed to account for more modern and relevant issues. There's this article on tripleampersand.org called the Alt-Woke Manifesto. This article is often cited when people talk about the idea of alt-woke. This article defines alt-woke as alt-woke is a new awakening for the postmodern left to navigate the protean digital era. Alt-woke injects planning back into left-wing politics. Alt-woke supports universal basic income, biotechnology, and radical energy reforms to combat climate change. Open borders, new forms of urban planning, and liquidation of Western hegemony. Alt-woke sees opportunity in disaster. Anna and Bell forums. So on the internet, there are forums that are often referred to as Anna and Mia forums, and these are forums that are pro-anorexia and pro-bulimia. They're typically called Anna and Mia forums, not Anna and Bell forums, but I think this entry is referring to these pro-anorexia and pro-bulimia forums. Although in recent years, there's been kind of a drop in these pro-anorexia and pro-bulimia forums around the internet, they still do exist. I stumbled across one of these Anna and Mia websites that's still up, and it's pretty disheartening to look at. I'm not going to say the name of this website because I don't want to further its popularity, but the things you can find on this website are not good. There's one section that offers tips and tricks you can use to hide your eating disorder from the people around you. The website offers these incredibly strict diets you can use to lose weight. There's one diet this website describes where you're supposed to eat 1 packet of instant oatmeal in the morning, and then at night you're allowed to drink 1 cup of unsweetened tea, and that's it for the day. And it totals to like 160 calories. It's not sustainable. I think this all goes without saying, but just in case, eating disorders are very serious issues, and treatment should definitely be sought after if one is suffering from an
It's
eating
not funny.
disorder. Nephilim.
Sorry.
The Nephilim are these creatures that are mentioned in the Bible.
Oh,
They are mentioned
God.
on very few occasions. These creatures are briefly mentioned in the Bible before the Great Flood and Noah's Ark, and they're also briefly mentioned in the 4th book of Moses, and they're said to inhabit Canaan. Besides these 2 brief mentions of these creatures, the Bible provides little to no explanation on who these creatures are and what they do. So they are a very mysterious element of the Bible. In some translations of the Bible, Nephilim translates
Angels.
to giants, so some people speculate that these creatures were giants of some kind, although other translations of the Bible would suggest that they're these angel-human hybrids of some sort. Goodbye Warden. Goodbye Warden is a website that compiles the last words of death row inmates. It's pretty interesting to go through and just look at what people's last words were.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, this website
That might
isn't
be good.
up anymore, but you can still view it on the Wayback Machine. Hitman Honeypots. So this entry is likely referring to the fact that there are some websites out there that look like they're a website that would allow you to hire a hitman on someone, but in reality the website's being run by some sort of government agency trying to catch people that are trying to take a hit out on somebody. And so there are examples of people going to these hitman websites.
I'm
and
sure there's a
signing up
lot
for
of this
hitman
on the
calls
internet,
without the
too.
FBI knocking at their door the next day, because the hitman website was actually being ran by the FBI the whole time to catch criminals. FBI dark web honeypots. So this entry is pretty similar to the one we just talked about. This entry is referring to the fact that on the dark web there are some websites that seem like they're perhaps a dark web marketplace, or perhaps a website that teaches you how to make illegal weaponry, or a website where you can buy human trafficking victims. But in reality, the website's fake and it's being run by the FBI, and it tries to document the people that are coming to these websites so they can track them down and arrest them. Go for a punch. Okay, so in 2015,
I get really good go for a punch on a sulfur dev.
what's the most messed up thing you've seen on the dark web? Well, one person responded to this post saying that the most messed up thing they saw on the dark web was an anime where a group of high school girls are trapped in a bathroom with no food and no way to escape. And the longer they stayed in this bathroom, the more their sanity started to go away, and they began killing each other in incredibly gruesome ways. The person who recalled seeing this anime on the dark web said that they don't remember what the name of it was. So they said that when they downloaded it onto their computer, the name of the file was something along the lines of Go for a Punch. They said that the anime was about half an hour long and had a kind of 80s aesthetic. Nowadays, most people lean towards the notion that this anime is fake, and the person on 4chan who was talking about this was just making shit up. People have been looking for this anime for nearly 7 years now, and no one's been able to find it. Sane people in insane places. So this entry is referring to something called the Rosenhan experiment. This experiment was designed by David Rosenhan, who was a professor at Stanford University, and it had 2 parts. The first part of this experiment took 8 participants, including Rosenhan himself, and these 8 participants all faked having auditory hallucinations. So there were 8 completely mentally healthy people, and they all faked having auditory hallucinations. And through faking these auditory hallucinations, all 8 participants were able to get themselves into psychiatric hospitals. 7 of the participants were diagnosed with schizophrenia, and 1 of them was diagnosed with manic depressive psychosis. But the thing is once these participants got admitted into the psychiatric hospital, they were told to stop faking their mental illness and act completely normal again, and to tell the staff that they no longer heard voices and they'd like to leave the psychiatric hospital. The participants ended up staying in the psychiatric hospitals for time frames ranging from 7 to 52 days, and all but 1 of the participants in this experiment was dismissed from their psychiatric hospital with a diagnosis of schizophrenia in remission. None of the hospital staff was able to identify that these people were faking their mental illness and were actually imposters. And like I said, there's a second part of this experiment too. After Rosenhan got the results from the first part of the experiment, he got a hold of another and separate psychiatric hospital, and he told this psychiatric hospital that he was going to send over imposter patients to try and get admitted, and it was up to the psychiatric hospital to identify these imposters and refuse to admit them. After this psychiatric hospital got this challenge, they said they were up to the task, and out of the next 193 patients that try to get admitted into the hospital.
Always
they
remember what I have shown you today,
imposter
patient.
patients. What's funny about this
You are
is
part of the
Rosenhan
balance
never ended
that
up
the Night
sending
Elves
any
strive
imposter
to keep
patients to this
intact,
psychiatric
even
hospital.
during
So this
troublesome
psychiatric
times.
hospital essentially misidentified 41 patients as imposters. Some people say that these experiments show that psychiatric institutions are really bad at identifying mental illnesses, but also some people think that these experiments are kind of inherently flawed and don't really prove anything. Like, think about it this way. If you just go to a regular hospital and you make up a lie about how your chest has been hurting and you've been throwing up blood, they're probably just going to take you seriously and admit you into the hospital and try and treat you. Hospitals don't really try and sniff out people faking illnesses. If someone says that
No, they
sick,
just try to
you're
help
gonna
you.
believe them. And this same kind of logic applies to psychiatric hospitals. If someone shows up to a psychiatric hospital and makes up a lie about hearing voices, the psychiatric hospital's probably just going to believe them and admit them for treatment. It's just not their job to sniff out imposters. Biohazard damaged cars. So if a car has biohazard damage, it means that it might have mold in it, or it might mean there's blood or body fluids in it, you know, because if someone got in a car crash and got hurt, there could be blood. I don't really know what this entry is referring to specifically. Maybe there's some specific story out there related to biohazard damaged cars, but I can't find anything like that, so we're gonna move on. David Parker Ray's audio tape transcript. David Parker Ray was not a great guy. He lived in New Mexico and was a serial murderer and rapist. What this guy is probably most infamously known for was he took a semi-truck trailer, soundproofed it, and turned it into what was essentially a torture chamber. Some reports say he abducted over 60 women, and after he tortured them, he would drug them with barbiturates in an attempt to erase their memory and then leave them on the side of the road. Most of his victims who were captured and tortured don't even really remember what happened to them because most of their memory from the event had been erased. What this entry is specifically referring to is once David Parker Ray abducted one of his victims, he would hold them captive and play a pre-recorded audio tape that would explain what he was going to do to them and what their lives would be like now that they were being held captive. After his operation was busted, these tapes were actually seized by police, and you can find the transcript for them online. I would read you some of this to give you an idea of what it's like, but it is legitimately foul. So we're just gonna move on. MD Pope. MD Pope stands for Most Disturbed Person on Planet Earth, and it's a film created by a person on the internet who goes by Thomas Extreme Cinemagore. The film MD Pope is comprised of disturbing videos that Thomas Extreme Cinemagore found from around the internet. Many of the videos within this film have clips taken from websites like BestGore or LiveLeak. Thomas Extreme Cinemagore, the guy who made this film, is kind of an edgelord, and the narrative he's pushed is that he made this film to prove to people that he's the most disturbed person on planet Earth. Because the film is just so disturbing, it would prove it to everybody. Generally speaking, it seems like people don't really like Thomas Extreme Cinemagore, but most people admit that this film is pretty disturbing. And the film is just straight NSFL content. God's ego death. So the term ego death is used to describe when someone loses their own ego. If someone has an ego death, it usually means that someone loses their sense of self-worth and self-value and no longer really think that they're better than anyone else. So there is a theory that the God within Christianity had an ego death. The way I've seen this theory go is the Bible is split into two parts, the Old Testament and the New Testament. And God's personality kind of seems to shift between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Like, for example, in the Old Testament, God just straight up kills people who disrespects him, and much of the time he's very vengeful. But in the New Testament, God is always pushing the idea of how you should love your neighbor, and he's a lot more forgiving. And so the theory poses that this personality shift in God is due to an ego death. And the theory also has an interesting explanation for where this ego death came from. The theory points towards a story in Genesis where God sends down these two angels to check out these cities called Sodom and Gomorrah and to report back to God if God should be merciful towards these cities or not. Now, when these angels come down to these cities, something bad happens to them, and the book of Genesis leaves room for interpretation as to precisely what happens to them. But the book of Genesis, depending on how you look at it, might suggest that these angels were violated by people in Sodom and Gomorrah when they came down. The theory poses that after God found out that this happened, it ultimately led to him having an ego death, and then he went and burned Sodom and Gomorrah to the ground. This is a pretty big oversimplification of the theory. Heaven's Gate website. So I'd imagine many of you watching this video are already familiar with Heaven's Gate, but just in case, to catch you up, Heaven's Gate was a religion that was founded in 1974 by Bonnie Nettles and Marshall Applewhite, and the core beliefs of this religion was that if one was to reject all of their human desires and all of their human nature, once they died, they'd be able to transfer their souls into the bodies of some aliens and then go to And so this led to this event where in 1997, there was this comet that was passing by Earth known as Hale-Bopp, and the leader of this religion convinced all of their followers that there was a UFO trailing this comet. And if all of the members of this religion ended their own lives, their souls would be transferred onto this UFO and they would go to heaven. And so this led to 39 members of this religion, including the leaders, ending their lives as this comet passed by because they believed their souls would be transported onto this UFO trailing the comet and then they'd go to heaven. What this entry is specifically referring to is the website for this religion is still up till this day, over 20 years after nearly all of the members ended their lives. Right now it appears the website is being ran by an old married couple by the names of Mark and Sarah King, and these are one of the few members of Heaven's Gate that didn't end their lives when the comet passed by. Till this day, some people say that they still reply to the Heaven's Gate business email, and if you ask nicely, they'll actually send you promotional VHS tapes for Heaven's Gate. User Worthless319. So back in 2016, a Reddit account was made called Worthless319, and for a while, this user was very active on numerous subreddits. And if you go through this person's post history on Reddit, you can find him asking some really questionable things. For example, back when he was active on r/morbid questions, he asked, what would hurt worse? Having your cut off quickly with large slices or slowly with little slices? He also asked on r/askreddit, why or why not would alcohol be a decent anesthetic for performing self-surgery? He asked on r/awakened, how do I gain the strength and mental fortitude to serve God with all my heart? He asked on r/Buddhism, how can I be present enough to mutilate my and die for God? Or a question he posed on r/askreddit, do you fear waking up to North Korea attacks mainland US, or Trump/Kim initiates World War III? And so going through this guy's post history, you can kind of start building an idea of what was going on with him. Based on this guy's post history, he believed that he received a message from God that told him that if he didn't cut off his dick as a sacrifice, North Korea would launch a nuclear attack on the United States and end the world. Later on in his post history, he started talking about how he needed to die for God to prevent the nuclear war from happening. And after that, his last post was made in October of 2017, and then he was never seen again. And so some people do speculate that this guy ended up ending his own life because he thought it would prevent a nuclear war between North Korea and the United States. Of course, there are some people too who think this account is fake and all the things he was saying is fake, although he did provide pictures of his self-mutilation and it seems real. And if you reverse image search the pictures, you can't really find any matches. During this guy's post history, he did talk about smoking DMT, and so it's possible his use of DMT is why he started believing in these delusional things. Catholic sun worship. Okay, so within some ancient pagan, Babylonian, and Roman religions, worshiping the sun was a pretty prominent element of these religions, and these religions created a lot of artwork and symbolism to represent this sun worship. But also within the Roman Catholic Church, there is also artwork and symbolism that is very reminiscent of the artwork and symbolism within these ancient pagan religions. And so due to the similarities between the artwork and symbolism between these ancient pagan religions and the Roman Catholic Church, this has led some people to accuse the Roman Catholic Church of actually being one of these ancient pagan religions just with a Christian coat of paint over it. Tunnels. So what I think this entry is referring to is there is a community of people who are really into exploring and documenting abandoned infrastructure and tunnels. And on the ClearNet and to some extent the Darknet, there are websites that are dedicated to documenting these abandoned pieces of architecture and tunnels. Notably, there are a lot of websites on the internet that are dedicated to documenting steam and maintenance tunnels at colleges across the United States. Like here's a website on the Darknet that's dedicated to exploring the tunnels under Virginia Tech University. Among other things, this website features a map that documents all of the underground tunnels that they've explored so far, and it shows all of the underground tunnels that they suspect to exist, but they haven't explored yet. There's one of these underground tunnel websites for Stanford University. Interestingly enough, this website features entry points that you could supposedly use to get into these underground tunnels. There's one of these tunnel websites for Ohio State University, and this website features a lot of pictures taken from inside of the tunnels. It's pretty funny too because most of these websites that talk about exploring these underground university tunnels explicitly point out that exploring these tunnels is technically illegal and also very dangerous. For example, the Virginia Tech Tunnel website points out that the tunnels at this university have asbestos in the walls, and there's exposed electrical wiring, and there's rusty nails everywhere, and the steam tunnels at this university can get as hot as 150 degrees Celsius, so heat exhaustion is actually a very real risk. And on top of all of that, it's considered trespassing to explore these tunnels anyway. So what I think this entry is referring to is a copypasta that's been floating around the internet for a while. This copypasta is often referred to as the Nobody, and it's often been propagated on websites like 4chan and Godlike Productions. There's quite a bit of stuff going on with this copypasta in terms of its origins and the whole story behind it, and I'm not going to get into it right now because I think I might make a full-fledged video about this in the future. But basically, this is a copypasta. Some people take it seriously. Of course, most people don't. I'll read it off for you. Who is the Nobody? The Nobody is a figure alive today who has extraordinary spiritual powers, including the ability to control reality with their conscious and unconscious mind. He is a man of no wealth or worldly acclaim, through whom it seems God has chosen to manifest his strength and wisdom. He is said to carry the Logos, making him a fearless truth-teller and a menace to the powers that be. Instead of receiving strength through a superiority/inferiority mechanism, the Nobody proves to them time and time again that a whole planet filled with creative, ingenious, spiritually ascended humans who are individually sovereign yet globally unified through consciousness can achieve greater things than a planetary empire.
They'll kill each other.
of greatness
It's
and
funny.
control. He is not a messiah, he is just like you, but he has found the keys to the kingdom within himself through sheer will.
He doesn't like that I'm sitting down.
What
He's
is the
pissed off
general
about it.
picture? It's important.
But I mean,
to
what can he
start
do?
with
He can't
good
do anything.
posts and ignoring the hateful ones, or the ones here to argue. So call
Yep.
upon their
And then
heads
I
and
can
the
kill this
forces
bitch
of
easy.
heaven for peacefulness,
I'm gonna sit and
clarity,
rest, and
wisdom.
that's Rings of
This place
Fury.
gives you more
Done
than
in
wonders
2.5 minutes. I might even
opportunity
take the
for
record or
bargain.
whatever.
It requires voices such as yours, but many more.
I want my astral
Focus on
rings.
increasing your service to others and be more loving to yourself and everyone in order to raise your vibration.
Yep, get up and start healing, and
consciousness level.
sooner or
once you
later,
forgive yourself
my
this will change the vibration
my,
of the planet, raise the
my,
shared
charm will
consciousness
wear
of
off.
humanity, and change humankind one person at a time. If this is your first time here, just remember, it's going to be okay. You may take shelter and find rest.
shit, I didn't even put protect
The
on.
Real Truman Show.
'Cause I didn't think
before
I'd
we
need
talk
it, and
about
I
this entry,
didn't.
We need to talk about a movie called The Truman Show. The Truman Show is a movie that came out in 1998, and in short, it's a science fiction movie about a guy by the name of Truman Burbank. And the basic plot of this film is that everything that goes on in Truman's life is scripted by a group of television producers who are making a reality television show about his life. So Truman's hometown is actually a giant film set. All the people living in this town are actually actors who get directions on how to act from the TV producers, and there's hidden cameras everywhere around this town that record his every move and turn it into a television show. At the start of the movie, Truman just thinks he's living a normal life in a normal town with normal people, but over time he starts finding weird discrepancies within his life, and he starts realizing that his entire life is scripted and he's actually the star of a television show. And all the seemingly random events that happened to him throughout his life were actually scripted by a group of television producers. It's a pretty well-liked movie, and when you watch it, it kind of makes you ask yourself the question, is my life actually real? Maybe everything going on in my life is scripted and everyone around me is just an actor. And so this leads us to something called the Truman Show delusion. The Truman Show delusion, or also sometimes called Truman Syndrome, is a delusion where someone starts thinking that their entire life is actually a staged TV show, and everyone around them is actually a paid actor and they're living on a TV set. The Truman Show delusion isn't an
Hi.
officially recognized mental disorder by any
It's
major
not totally
medical
crazy. You're not
institution,
totally
but there
crazy,
are a
but
surprising amount of medical cases of people having a
who
delusion where
believe
they
this.
believe that
Yeah.
their entire life is scripted on a TV show. People who suffer from the Truman Show delusion typically suffer from some other mental disorder, and in some cases, the delusion has led people to act in really dangerous and irrational ways. There are examples of people with this delusion attacking people, thinking that they're actors. There's examples of people saying that all the news reports on television and in the newspaper are actually fake, and there are examples of people doing crazy things in an attempt to escape what they think is the scripted television show that they're living in. Whitelist only dark websites. So this entry is referring to the fact that there are some websites on the dark web that, for you to access them, the owner of the website has to put you on a whitelist. Whitelist only dark websites can come in pretty much any form, but if you need to be put on a whitelist to access a certain dark website, there's a pretty good chance that that dark website is holding some sort of illegal content on it. So that was it. That was the bottom of the rabbit hole iceberg. We covered quite a bit of weird stuff today. As you might have noticed, I did have to skip a couple entries. Of course, this is a YouTube video, so I do...
Yep.
This is the Internet Anomalies file. It's basically a chart that outlines many different abnormal and weird things from around the internet. Things that someone might call anomalies. Some of the stuff on here is pretty unsettling, some of the stuff on here is just kind of funny, and some of the stuff on here is deeply strange. And so I thought it would be fun to make a video where we just go through everything on here. You could probably make an entire video about any single one of these topics, but today I'm just going to talk about the most important elements and ideas from each of these topics. Sometimes I might go a little bit more into detail on things if it's interesting or kind of funny. You know me, we're doing some Minecraft Death Run B-roll footage today, and let me tell you, while putting together this video, I found myself on some of the weirdest parts of the internet, and I care about protecting my online privacy, and that's why I use a VPN, which leads us to today's sponsor, NordVPN. Your internet service provider likely has records of all of your internet activity, and on top of that, bad actors can track you by monitoring your internet traffic. NordVPN is a tool that can be used to protect yourself from these issues, because NordVPN will encrypt your internet traffic, making it hard to snoop on what you do. On top of being a useful VPN, NordVPN has introduced a new feature called Threat Protection, which will help block malicious websites, block intrusive ads, and it will even scan files for malware during downloads. Using NordVPN is also very simple and straightforward. You just download the app, sign in, hit Quick Connect, and you'll be automatically connected to a server that will encrypt your internet traffic. If you go to nordvpn.com/parallelpipes, you can save a significant amount of money when you sign up. Currently, NordVPN is celebrating its birthday, and so they're providing a special birthday deal. The 2-year plan is over half off, plus you get an extra month for free. Or you can just go into the description of this video and hit this link to get that deal. Thoth93 Robot God. So there's a YouTube channel called Thoth93 Robot God, and this channel sports some of the most overstimulating, brain-rotting, and cryptic videos the internet has to offer. I'm going to show you guys a couple quick clips so you guys understand what's going on in these videos. Before I even try and talk about these, I got to make sure you guys are on the same page, and I'm just going to show you the first couple seconds of a few videos, but it's important to understand that they continue on like this for 3, 4, 5 minutes. Okay, this video is called Possibly Interpretable. Okay, this one's called Simple with Kraft Macaroni and Cheese Dinner. Okay, this one's called Enlarged Incomparability. Seriously, I dare you to go to this channel and try and make sense of any of this. Most of the videos on this channel are like the stuff I've already shown you. It's these videos of super insanely complicated patterns of things, and trying to make any sense of it feels pretty crazy. There's barely any discussion of this channel you can find online, so nobody really seems to know what's going on here. I don't even know where to begin when trying to break down the videos on this channel. As you guys have seen from what I've shown you, these videos typically contain imagery related to religion and mathematics and video games and the Matrix and anime and a ton of other stuff too. And you guys haven't seen this from what I've shown you, but this channel and all the videos on it,
I know how he's doing it.
On the number 93, and this could be suggesting a ton of different things, and so I'm not even going to get into it. It seems like quite a bit of effort was put into these videos. Some of them are so complex. Who knows?
Nope.
Production.
Not at all.
Most of the descriptions in these.
It's a very simple program. I've seen it before.
But you could say that maybe some of them.
I cannot get my mouse, and it's driving me crazy. Give me my fucking mouse, you fucking piece of shit operating system. Anyways, so back in the day, we used to use this plugin for Winamp, which was the main program for listening to pirated music. Like, I mean, well, it was just the main program for listening to music, period. And Winamp had cool plugins, kind of like the way like browsers have plugins. You could do anything with it, really. And so we used to fuck with cool, like really cool Winamp plugins. Like if you, like you could turn your desktop into a moving thing that chased your mouse around. You could open files of pictures. And so I know what this guy's doing. He's opened up a file of like probably 3 million crazy memes. He's got like a meme file, and he's linked them all together, and then he's bumped them into some kind of AI program that runs the Winamp Drempels program. Richard Geisworks was the guy's name. I'm sure he came up with this. He's been fucking with that shit for like 35 fucking years. I've known about him in the scene. We had a huge reverence for him in the scene because we knew he was writing the fucking the Winamp plugins. Really great nerd. And I guarantee that's some of his work. It's probably not his work. It's probably some AI dummy program ripped by some script kiddie and turned into some kind of artistic device to explain how he feels about memes in the world and stuff. And so he only keeps memes that he thinks are of a certain, like type. Often he probably doesn't understand what's going on. You might find this in, like, say, like a French Canadian kid's computer, or like a Dutch, or like a Chinese, maybe Filipino kid's computer, because occasionally you'll get kids who were only raised in their own culture. They don't know American culture or American memes or any of this stuff, right? And so they do, but they do like cool art projects that turn their Winamp into nutty, like fucking like desktop tools that create crazy pictures of you and your family and psychedelic like colors and stuff and meld it all over the desktop. And we used to mess with that shit all day. I messed with it for years. I messed with Drempels. I wonder if Drempels is still around. Like, you think I'm kidding, like I'm making something up, but no, it's called Drempels. This was a really cool fucking Winamp thing, Drempels. Drempels was so cool. It was a screensaver by Geisworks. Psychotherapeutic screensaver and desktop enhancer, right? You could wire it up to play while it was playing techno. It would run images of video files across this. But what we saw there was probably just an AI. I'm gonna lose this because this bat. I'm gonna run out of time because this bat isn't gonna fucking run out, and I'm gonna lose this because I used my 2 hour. I shouldn't have. What the fuck, man? I'm gonna lose this because the charm. That's fucked up, man. Come on, wear off. I'm gonna lose this life and this orb because of my fucking because I used my 2 hour, which is just fucking ridiculous. But I suppose that's a risk, yeah. Time left a minute, yeah. I won't be able to do it. They just won't ever wear off it. Oh, no, I thought that was it, but nope. I hope I hear the sound of him attacking me, but I doubt it. Jumples makes colorful, swirling, hallucinogenic patterns that resemble a hurricane or a tornado. Normally runs in your Windows background or desktop, replacing your old still image wallpaper with gently animating visuals. And meanwhile, you can use your computer just like you normally would. Uses very little CPU overhead, so little that even runs smoothly under 233 megahertz. So, yep, the source code, or February 6, 2005, Jumples, da-da-da. Let's see if we can get Jumples to run. I kind of doubt it, but let's see.
Incoming emote.
What? Incoming emote? Well, there goes that. I mean, I can't even, like, I'm not gonna burn a instant warp out of here. I don't need to. I'm just run home to that fucking outpost and come right back again. Fucking worthless orb. I executed perfectly, and I get punished because I used my 2 hour. Oh, now I won't 2 hour. Seems like 20 seals is a lot to pay that. Dremple screensaver. Textures for Drempels. Yep. C programs Drempels. Yep. Yep. View read. No. So, right. Now, watch. It's so cool.
Incoming tell.
Indeed. At least I didn't die. So, Drempels, da-da-da. So, yeah, I just ran Drempels. I want to see Drempels. Drempels.text. Yeah, but no, not Drempels setup. Oh, yeah. Finally runs into
Incoming
system
tell.
trade. Oh. I don't understand. Go ahead. Nine minutes, motherfucker. That could have gone so much better. It works, though. I'm going to get my Astral Rings now. Make me very, very happy. I might even get more Astral Rings. Might sell Astral Rings, you know? One Astral Ring will solve most of my problems for a long time.
Incoming tell.
Get some me. Fucking 2 hour, whatever. Finally runs in the system tray, but you didn't run the program, so go to home to the C folder, program files,
Incoming tell.
Drempels, install Drempels. Oh yeah, Drempels, right? Wait, Drempels might not run. Yeah, but you didn't get a file here. There is no file here. I don't know.
Incoming tell.
Familiar to wrong mob. I should have done the first mob. I'm dumb. Yep. It's good to do on the first mob because then it just makes it lol. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's a problem. Familiar wrong. Yeah, but like so, but that's what you just did. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, like select components to install texture, set as default screensaver. Da da da. Next.
Incoming tell.
No. Yeah. Lightsaber stopper. Does this want me to go? It's like way over there. Okay. Wait, how far did I go? Oh yeah, I'm still like, god damn it, this was such a long walk. Total waste of fucking time because I used an ability. Come on, man. Fucking old ass games. Their fucking rigid ass ways. Motherfucker, man, like you're not doing that right, are you? I don't think you are. Without the right extension, it's not even gonna understand what I'm trying to do, I don't think. We're at, oh hey, we're coming down towards the end here. That's crazy. 40 minutes to go. Yeah, I'm gonna go all the way the fuck back. But at least I know I can do it very easy. Throw that fucking orb away. Waste of an orb. Waste of an orb. SCR, is it? Yeah, but I don't see it. Oh yeah, what is this? It's a. See this is not it. This does not have a fucking executable in it. It's an old shell of a program. It's unfortunate. Drempels doesn't exist anymore, but it's kind of funny that it's not popular. It's a movable desktop. It's like a desktop screensaver. It's awesome. Teleport with 800 gil. Damn it, this cost me money. Yeah, I guess I've got to go warp. Man. If I hadn't unlocked White Mage and Black Mage respectively, I would not be able to do this. I would not be able to stand the amount of travel required. I'm so glad I got that out of the way when I had the wherewithal to do it. Because without that free jump to Juno right now, I would probably give up. I'd be like, I can't do the Q-Fim run. I mean, I could have just done the Q-Fim run. It's the same fucking run that I'm doing right now, basically. But this one, I'll survive. Yeah, Drempels is dead, huh? That's kind of interesting.
In these videos, if there really is hidden messages in these videos, I have no idea where you even begin when it comes to deciphering.
There's no hidden messages in them. It's a screensaver.
There are a select few videos on this channel that are a little more tame and kind of a departure from the typical style of video. But even these videos still don't really make any sense. They're pretty much incoherent, and the descriptions are still filled with.
Yeah, they're not coherent because it's like an AI. It's not an AI. It's like a program spun up to run algorithms. It's not an AI. It's just an RNG algorithm on like image spooling with distortive like stuff on image files done as like a screen over your desktop, and it's very simple. You could see it in places like MTV Music Generator 2. Where like you literally could spin up this like this music program that MTV had done for the PlayStation, where it just ran fucking cool psychedelic fucking. We thought it was the machines talking to us. The machines would spin these cool images and stuff that was on the PlayStation's like like memory of just random textures and stuff that it had in its chip, and it would just like, and then it would spin it at you on, or what was on the disc, and it would just spin it at you. My friend would make music videos of trance over his own like techno over like, you know, stuff that was essentially a screensaver program. To this guy, that's like revolutionary because nobody fucks with programs like that anymore. We grew up kind of messing with programs like that quite a bit.
I've seen some people say that at some point Thoth93
Oh, no.
Robot Dog had some accounts on some adult websites and was uploading videos there, but apparently they've since deleted all those videos and now they're just on YouTube. If that whole thing's true, which I'm not 100% sure, it's definitely an interesting choice to make. Considering everything on this channel, if I had to make a guess for what's going on here, I would say either whoever's behind this channel might not be in the best place right now, or alternatively, the videos on this channel were made with the intention of them being art. And this art is just very confusing.
It's a screensaver, dude.
But who knows, maybe these videos are part of some secret MK Ultra mind control
No.
program.
No.
Phil Schneider was a man who claimed to be an ex-government engineer who helped build deep underground military.
I wonder how much more of this
bases
stuff
in
I
the
know
United
about.
States. He gave presentations at expos and conferences. Videos of these presentations he gave have been circulating online for some time now. And throughout his presentations, he made some pretty bold claims. Made a lot of claims about the supposed deep underground military bases in the United States.
Right now, there are
There's a lot of them.
active deep underground military bases in the United States.
I mean, it's true, but he shouldn't say it.
Roughly 4.25 cubic miles hollowed out underground.
Oh yeah, I always wondered what's down there. I want to go live in places like that. I think it'd be
A year
amazing.
to 2 years to build each one.
Yup.
And now they're capable of building a couple of them a year.
He's claimed that there's 11 different races of aliens.
Oh, they be Minecrafting. They do. They're out there Minecrafting right now.
Two are benevolent.
He's made a lot of other pretty crazy claims too. One of the more notable things about Phil Schneider is he's missing 2 fingers and his thumb, and he's claimed that he got these injuries from fighting an alien.
I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of
And
his
then-
chest.
And it chopped off your
Next thing I know,
fingers.
This blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish.
Oh, come on, man. That's the lie.
My fingers right off of me.
Now, from what I
Yeah.
can tell, it looks like most of his claims are pretty much baseless. His evidence is just trust me, bro. It also looks like some of his personal information doesn't line up with his story. But you can find people online who seem to believe in this guy and like what he says. There's a lot of different stuff you could talk about with this guy, but I'm going to talk about one of the more interesting leads. A YouTuber who at the time went by the name Joe from the Carolinas was investigating the whole Philip Schneider thing, and apparently
Joe from the Carolinas. I love his symbol. Joe from the Carolinas. Come on,
Turns
man.
out the FBI actually had some pretty interesting information on this guy, but
Oh, yeah?
probably not
Okay.
what you were expecting. According to these documents that were acquired through a FOIA request, in 1969, Philip Schneider spent time at the Dalmash State Hospital in Wilsonville, Oregon.
Oh, of
and
course.
was characterized as schizophrenic. This document goes on to say that under stress, Schneider would mutilate himself for self-attention and had amputated 2 fingers. And that
Aw.
would explain the whole missing fingers thing. This
It's
document
true,
also
it's always
says that at
stranger
one
in
point
fiction.
Schneider was keeping approximately
I didn't want it to be that,
300 pounds of
but I
radioactive
suspected it was
material
that.
at his residence, under his bed, in his room. So he definitely wasn't the most stable
Secretly.
individual. I probably should just say this for transparency's sake, though. When it comes to these FOIA request documents on Phil Schneider, I can't 100% confirm they're real. I don't really think Joe from the Carolinas would forge these documents, and I haven't really seen.
Come
anything
on,
that
Joe from the
suggests that
Carolinas.
my
Come
knowledge.
on.
3 different sources have told me these are real. You know, looking over them, I would say they look pretty good. But I'm not really an expert.
I would
on
say they look
FOIA
pretty
requests or
good.
Legal stuff surrounding this topic. And so to keep it $1.50 with you guys, I'm probably not the guy to tell you if these are real or not. Lose Lose. Lose Lose is a game developed by a man by the name of Zach Gage. And just looking at gameplay,
And
of
it's
it,
a game,
kinda
you
looks like
can't
your typical
win.
Galaga-like shooter. But this game has a catch, and the catch is every time that you kill an alien in game, the game will delete a random file off of your computer. Any file is fair game. This game can totally delete important system files. The game can even potentially delete itself while you're playing it.
It got rid of itself.
Dublin.
Oh,
I'll kind of just cut
God.
to the chase here. There is a really obscure myth or legend on the internet about how at some point in Wisconsin there was a town by the name of Dublin, but at some point, some people say in the 90s, it mysteriously went missing. I've seen a couple comments from people who claim to have been from Wisconsin and remember this place or remember hearing about this place. And
But
there
it's
is
not
always
there.
the possibility that the people in these comments
Dublin,
could be lying.
Wisconsin?
I've also seen quite a
Dublin, Wisconsin. Let's look into this one. Dublin, Wisconsin is just not there. Okay, Dublin, Wisconsin. It's like the X-Files. The story of Dublin, Wisconsin. Okay. Thank you. The Mysteries Beneath. I've subbed and liked your channel.
America is dotted with small towns in all 50 states. And over the years, these towns grow and shrink for all sorts of reasons. Industry comes and goes. Their isolation limits growth. Disaster might make them too dangerous to live in. Or maybe future generations simply are lured away by the lights of the big city or the opportunity that larger towns may provide. This means that it's not all that uncommon for towns to simply die out. This is usually a slow process and one that leaves ghost towns behind. But ghost towns have stories to tell. There are
Damn, man,
records
you're
left
freaking me
in
out,
the
man.
towns themselves, in historical records of
Why
the
are you
region.
fucking farming on
most
top of
notably,
me, you
for the people
idiot?
who call these
It's because
big
you
towns
want to
their
just
home.
take my shit. You're so
Nostalgia
stupid.
is a powerful force. And
Little
many
monkey
people
wants to
reminisce
take whatever
about
I
their
have.
childhood towns,
Even
if those
even
towns
psychologically, it's
might not
there.
seem
It's like you have to
special
come.
to anyone else. But what happens when a town simply disappears? What happens when locals in the region don't remember a neighboring town? Don't remember anyone who moved to it? And don't remember anyone who came from it?
Where did the town go?
This is TV 24, WCGV, Milwaukee, where the stars shine.
Do you remember? What's the name of this? Dublin. Do you remember Dublin? Dublin exists. Wow. Yeah, that exists anyways. Yeah, no, Dublin existed. Now it's gone. It's just poof. Bye. They stole it.
Well, this
Stole
is
the
case
children.
with the supposed town of Dublin, Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, of all the places for this to happen, I would say Wisconsin is it. Yep. I would say.
Into this small town in rural Wisconsin.
Yep. Oh yeah, that'd be about the only place.
Information on Dublin is scant, but the first mention of it online seems to come from a now deleted and since archived Tumblr post that appeared on the website sometime around 2015. The post starts with a simple question. Anyone here ever heard of Dublin, Wisconsin? The post goes on to talk about Dublin and how it's apparently a small town in Wisconsin that simply vanished from existence sometime roughly in the late 1980s or early 1990s. Relatively recent for a story of this nature. The post goes on to state that no one in the region seems to remember Dublin, but that memorabilia from the town does seem to exist out in the wild. Maps don't show Dublin in the region, and there is speculation on if the town ever actually existed and what may or may not have happened to it and to its inhabitants. Now, the most plausible explanation is that Dublin never really existed, and the original post was nothing more than a hoax. Searching for information on Dublin online leads mostly to message boards talking about the town with all manner of ideas regarding it, alongside general confusion about it. Still, there are those that claim to have vague memories of Dublin, while others point to other communities in rural areas that simply disappeared without a trace throughout American history. Over the years, posts would spread
Jono Stormrage never returned.
Level 9.
Druids were in disarray, and to this day we still do not know what became of him. With Malfurion missing, Archdruid Fandral Staghelm took over. All was not well.
From the town itself,
like a cat dragged in from the rain, you scratch and claw, then do it all over again.
There are even reports that those in nearby towns
I didn't see you enter, adventurer. What can I do for you?
Hearing radio station broadcasts coming from Dublin and giving out the call letters for the station itself. One particular post on the Obscure Legends wiki page even features a photo that claims to have been taken at a local restaurant in Dublin. The page also has an account from someone whose father claims Dublin was, in fact, a very real place. The post goes on to say, "My father lived there for a year or two and spoke of it occasionally. The main thing I remember is that it had to do with Project Sanguine in the early 60s.
I
I
can
don't
train
think it
you
was
in first aid
X-Files type
techniques.
stuff, but the town was destroyed after an incident. I thought they were digging up a ton of land for something and they flooded the town or something. But this is a rehash secondhand memory from years ago."
That's such an odd thing to say.
Dublin
I think they
was a
kind of
town
flooded it or
populated
something.
mostly by military.
Sounds like a Wisconsin guy. I have a very dear Wisconsin friend. We had a falling out, but he is a dear Wisconsin friend. And well, I got two dear Wisconsin friends. Actually, I know a bunch of people from Wisconsin. And yeah, and it's the kind of thing he would say, "Well, I thought they kind of drowned or shot or flooded that place. Who the fuck knows?" It's the kind of thing he would say. It's the kind of thing a Wisconsin man would say. They can be kind of feckless, I would say.
Personnel and their families. Still,
They can
others
be
from
very
Wisconsin
accepting.
don't
They're
think
wonderful northern folk, kind of like Fargo, North Dakota, kind of vibe. They're definitely that vibe. But they're but they're interesting. They're interesting people.
this to be the case.
They're a small town, but they're not afraid of being real people.
With one local claiming that the supposed location for
Like
Dublin
the way that you would see in like Hollywood or something like that. I'm not talking about woke culture. I'm talking about like crazy, like advanced, like club culture and stuff like that. You'd be surprised Wisconsins can hold it. At least in my experience, some of them have been the most interesting people I've ever met. Alaska people can be like that too. Small town can really make you an interesting person.
doesn't match those used by Project
Now
Sanguine.
I can repair my dream catcher.
I remember I spent 2 years in the city
With Lord
Normal,
Malign's
Illinois.
laid to rest, I can finally move on to other matters. Thank you, adventurer.
I don't know. I guess it's whatever's more. Yeah, that guy.
Good luck, friend.
Yep. Okay, don't fall off that. Don't fall out of a fucking tree. It hurt very badly. Yeah. So yeah, we're like got a whole another bit to go, but yeah, like that, now that I've learned that it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's really good. Rogue plays kind of like how I feel like Demon Hunter plays now. It's pretty fun. I mean, it always did play like that. I've always loved the Rogue gameplay, actually. It's super fun. Just gotta turn around.
U.S. Navy's Project Sanguine, later known as Project ELF, or Project ELF, when it was scaled back due to lack of funding, was an extremely low-frequency transmitter designed to communicate with submarines while they were underwater. The original project plans called for this grid of antennas extending
The
throughout
road to
a large
Darnassus must
area
be kept
of
safe.
northern Wisconsin and
Travelers
Michigan.
heading from Dolinar to
It seems that the
Darnassus
idea
have been
was to
reporting
turn the
ruthless
entire state
attacks
of
by
Wisconsin
corrupted
itself
fur bogs from the
into this
Gnarlpine
sort of
tribe.
massive antenna.
Important news and commerce travels
Approximately
to and
hundreds
from
of power
Darnassus.
plants would be built into the earth to power this antenna system and generate the ELF waves needed for the project. Strangely enough, that project was active until eventually shut down sometime in 2004. The interesting thing that many
Oh
have
wait,
noted
the wrong
is the
food
name
song.
for the project itself, Sanguine. In most regards, sanguine relates to blood, or more specifically,
Bleeding.
a color of blood.
Yep.
Why would the Navy choose this term for their ELF project? Some believe that the project itself was far more than a simple ELF testing station, and that blood was, in fact, a part of the project, or that some ritual was involved alongside that project, although no evidence of this currently exists. Now, this military connection helps to connect the dots for many people who think that whatever may have happened to Dublin was some sort of military accident.
They like Stranger Things, this poor town.
Didn't begin until 1902.
Oh, come on.
A theory suggests that perhaps a test of the system went wrong, and that the
Yeah, everybody died. Oh well,
Dublin,
right.
or at a nearby location, caused
It's a
some sort
shame,
of incident.
Incident.
One of the more out there theories suggests that the entire town was somehow shunted into another dimension, or that the test itself shifted our own reality.
Yeah,
into
Stranger
another.
Things. Yeah.
Now, a more down-to-earth theory suggests that Project Sanguine simply went wrong at the Dublin location and caused an accident which rendered the town uninhabitable, and that the military simply then covered up the disaster. But what does the memorabilia from Dublin that still exists mean? Perhaps Dublin was in fact a real town that simply died out over the years, but did so long before the dating of the late 80s and early 90s. The appearance of Dublin items for sale online that came about seemingly at random could simply be related to AI bots online
Wow.
who troll the internet for terms that quickly rise in popularity, and then auto-generate merchandise for it to make
Auto-generate merchandise. What kind of fucking fantasy are
Right
you
now,
living
we don't
in?
have enough information regarding Dublin to say
Auto-generate
one way or another,
merchandise.
but the lack
With
of
what, 3D
information on the
printers?
town
Come on.
Pre-2017 suggests it possibly began as an online hoax. But for what reason? No one seems to be making much or any money, at least not in any large form, from the Dublin mystery. Especially at the
I like
time of the
mystery
original
stuff.
post.
It sucks. I have an addiction
And
to
known
it.
nearby cities are using it, at this time at least, to drive up tourism. Still, the connections with Project Sanguine are intriguing, and while the later Project ELF never built its antenna system underground into the bedrock itself, it may have not done so because of the tests carried out in or near Dublin that may have led to its destruction and quick cover-up. Or maybe because Dublin, or ourselves, shifted from one reality to another, potentially kicking off the Mandela effect that seems to become so apparent in the past several years. Let us know in the comments below what you think about Dublin, Project Sanguine, and if you or anyone you know remembers the small town that simply disappeared.
I want to sell Dublin stuff now.
Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed this fun little mystery as much as we did researching it. Links to some of our sources used in our research
The name of this streamer, he's got 41,000 views. is Aram Public Library in Delavan, Wisconsin. Scariest places in Wisconsin. Yeah, no thanks. The full 9/11 iceberg chart explained. Ramtro Studios, The Horrors of Plum Island. What's The Horrors of Plum Island?
This episode of the Wi-Fi...
The Wi-Files. Thank you. I'd like to sub to your channel.
Files is brought to you by Henson Shaving. In July 2008, the carcass of an animal washed up on the beach at Montauk Point, Long Island. Local beachcombers are used to seeing dead animals. Seagulls, fish, crabs, even the occasional whale. But they had never seen anything like this. Animal experts were brought in to identify it. They were stumped. It looked like part dog, part reptile, and part rodent with the beak of a bird. This animal, whatever it was, became known as the Montauk Monster. But where did the monster come from? There could be only one answer: Plum Island. Plum Island is just a few miles from where the monster was found. Locals heard rumors that this was a top-secret government facility that created bioweapons, engineered animal hybrids, and maybe even experimented on people. Sounds like a wild theory. But then another animal washed up on the beach. Again, it couldn't be identified. And then another animal, and then two more. In 2010, the rumors about Plum Island seemed to be true when something else was found on the beach. This time it wasn't a strange animal, it was a body. A human body. Well, almost human.
Why?
Hang on, honey, hang on. I'm gonna deal with it. Just give me a second. Will you calm down? Hey, human!
What are you doing?
I'm glad you're there. Look, I'm in the midst of an emergency. I need to borrow your car, $2,000, and 2 pair of your wife's pantyhose.
What is going on? You were supposed to be here 2 days ago,
Look,
but...
there's been extenuating circumstances.
Extenuating circumstances.
It means beyond my control.
I know what it means.
Okay, so car, cash, pantyhose, stat.
Just calm down a minute. What is the emergency?
Gertie and I have a photo shoot for the Modern Goldfish.
What the heck is the Modern Goldfish?
Hello, it's a goldfish lifestyle magazine. You haven't seen copies of it in my bathroom?
Yeah, I don't go into your bathroom. I was in there 6 months ago and I'm still in therapy.
What a snowflake. So, the Modern Goldfish is doing a profile on me.
What?
And I got my Rolex, my bespoke suit, and now I just need a nice close shave.
What does any of this have to do with me?
I need $2,000 for disposable razors.
$2,000 for razors?
Razors are expensive. And Gertie also needs a shave. I'm not using her razors again. You ever try to shave your face after your wife uses your razor for her legs?
Well, yeah, the razor gets dull.
Well, imagine your wife's legs were the size of a camel hump.
I don't want to imagine that.
Well, I used one of Gertie's razors, and I thought I was going to rip one of my gills off. I don't want to damage my moneymaker.
God forbid. Look, you don't need any of those disposable razors. Just try Henson Shaving.
Oh, is that today's sponsor?
It sure is. Henson Shaving is a family-run aerospace business that makes a precision quality safety razor. The Henson AL13 has a cost of ownership that's way less than disposable or electric razors. It's completely plastic-free, and the replacement blades cost about 10 cents each, so you can always have a safe, close shave.
Oh, this sounds fantastic.
It is, and there aren't any subscription programs or monthly deliveries, just a solid, long-lasting, dependable razor. Click the link in the description to get your very own Henson AL13 and use the code THE-Y-FILES to get 100 free blades with your order. That'll give you 3 to 5 years worth of shaves.
Okay, I'm on it, but look, I'm still gonna need those pantyhose.
I know I'm gonna regret asking this, but why do you need a pair of pantyhose?
2 pairs.
Why do you need them?
Well, why do you think? After Gertie shaves her legs, she gets cold. Have you ever seen chicken skin on a camel's legs? It ain't pretty. So tell your wife to make with the pantyhose too sweet. What is it, baby? What is it? Hang on, I'll ask. Hey, yes, so, she wants you to make sure they're fishnets.
Less than 2 miles off the coast of Long Island and about 85 miles from New York City is a small island owned by the U.S. government and unidentified on most maps. It's only accessible by ferry or by helicopter, but don't try visiting. Even if you have top secret clearance, access to Plum Island is invitation only. Boats that wander too close are quickly chased away by armed military personnel. Officially, the island is home to the Plum Island Animal Disease Center, a federal research facility that studies livestock-related diseases, specifically foot and mouth disease and African swine fever. These are highly contagious diseases that affect cows, pigs, sheep, and goats. The Plum Island Animal Disease Center is the only lab in the U.S. authorized to work with live FMD samples. If these samples escape the island, it could devastate the country's food supply in a matter of weeks. Foot and mouth is so contagious that if a single case is found in imported meat, all meat imports from that country are instantly banned. In 2001, the UK had an outbreak of foot and mouth disease that resulted in a loss of almost $10 billion and the slaughter of more than 6 million animals, whether they were infected or not. The center also studies African and classical swine fevers as well as avian flu. Now, there's no question that since the 1950s, Plum Island has studied diseases that affect livestock. But Plum Island's true history is much darker. For years, stories circulated that Plum Island was conducting genetic experiments on animals and possibly on people. So when the bodies of strange animals began washing up on beaches around the Long Island Sound, it could mean only one thing. The rumors about Plum Island were true. The Manhattan Monster was found along the East River. Then another creature washed up. And this one kind of looked like a pig, but you don't see a lot of those running around New York City. Besides, pigs have 4 toes on each foot that ends in a hoof. The Manhattan Monster's feet had 5 toes that ended in what looked like claws.
Ooh, did it have the body of a crab and the head of a cat?
No, it had
That would be a crab cat.
I know, but some thought it could be a huge rat. Now, I'm from New York, and I've seen some huge rats.
Especially under the F train at West 4th Street, huh?
They get big down there, but not this big. Plus, rats have 4 toes on their back feet. Again, this thing had 5. Then another unrecognizable animal appeared. Then another, and another. Plum Island is supposed to be a medical research facility, originally under the purview of the Department of Agriculture. But Plum Island is actually part of Homeland Security. Why? In 2008, an Al-Qaeda operative named Aifa Siddiqui was captured. She was in possession of handwritten notes with possible sites for a mass casualty attack in the United States. One of the sites listed was Plum Island. Again, why? Well, Plum Island research wasn't always about curing diseases. When it opened, Plum Island was about creating them. In 1952, Plum Island was used to research anti-animal biological warfare. Specifically, it focused on weaponizing foot and mouth disease against enemy livestock to disrupt their food supply. But there's evidence that the bioweapons developed on Plum Island weren't only targeting animals, but targeting humans. In January 2010, a human body was found on Plum Island by a local security guard. It was described as a 6-foot-tall black male with no obvious signs of trauma. But there were a few strange details about this man. One is that his fingers were described as abnormally large. Some news agencies reported that his hands seemed mutated. But the scariest detail of all? His skull had 5 holes drilled into it, indicating invasive brain surgery or experimentation. And that's where Plum Island's dark history becomes even darker. Because when the United States wanted to create one of the deadliest germ labs on Earth, it brought in elite personnel to build it. To build Plum Island, the U.S. brought in bioweapon scientists with experience in human experimentation. To build Plum Island, the U.S. brought in the Nazis.
Yep.
Why couldn't the Montauk Monster be some critter that they were tinkering with that somehow went into the water and got swept by that outgoing tide? Montauk is south and east of Plum Island, not that far, maybe 10 miles as the crow flies, maybe less even. Why couldn't it be that?
Reims Island, Germany is home to the oldest virological institution in the world. Reims was founded in 1910 to research foot and mouth disease, but during World War II, it became ground zero for Hitler's biowarfare program. Reims was run by scientist Erich Traub, who reported directly to Heinrich Himmler, who reported directly to Hitler. Traub experimented with unique forms of biological warfare. He specialized in biting and stinging insects. He discovered that if you infect beetles and ticks with a deadly disease, you can drop them on enemy troops and their food supplies. You can devastate an entire army without firing a single shot. Ticks were considered an ideal weapon for biological warfare. They're small, making them hard to detect. They're resilient, making them hard to kill. And they feed on human blood, making them motivated to spread disease.
The tick is the perfect germ vector, which is why it has long been fancied as a germ weapon by early bio-warriors, from Nazi Germany and the Empire of Japan to the Soviet Union and the United States.
After the war, there was no Nazi Germany. There was no Empire of Japan. But the Soviet Union and the United States were still very interested in using poison ticks in warfare, except now they would be used on each other. So now the two allies became enemies, and competition for German technology was fierce. The United States launched Operation Paperclip, a secret program that recruited German scientists, engineers, and technicians. The US gave German scientists a choice: work for us and your war crimes are forgiven. Not a difficult decision for most. Even if German scientists refused to work for the US, they could still find themselves swept up in Operation Oswiecim. This was the Soviet counterpart to Operation Paperclip, but where the US gave scientists a choice, the Soviets took them by force. Erich Traub was one of the scientists forced to work for the Soviets from his lab on Reams Island. But in 1948, British intelligence got him out and brought him to the States. Soon he was working at Fort Detrick, the Army's biological warfare headquarters. And based on the design of Traub's island in Germany, the United States built their own lab off the coast of New York. So the Plum Island Animal Disease Laboratory opened its doors in 1954.
A source who worked on Plum Island in the 1950s recalls that animal handlers and a scientist released ticks outdoors on the island. They called him the Nazi scientist. In 1951, they were inoculating these ticks.
It would take years before residents in the area would learn what was happening on Plum Island. And when locals found out, tensions were high. Nobody wanted a bioweapons lab in their backyard. Moral issues aside, what if some disease made it to the mainland? After all, about 10 million people live within 100 miles of the island. A lab leak would be catastrophic. But even when the government finally acknowledged the facility, they said that one, it wasn't researching bioweapons, and two, there's no way anything could escape the island. But here's the thing. Those were both lies.
This animal facility, since 1954, when it was actually inaugurated as a biological warfare facility by Nazi Germany's top germware officer, warfare officer that we secretly imported to the United States. The goal was germ warfare.
Is that true? Really, was that a Nazi? A Nazi ran the place? An ex-Nazi?
Yeah, his name was Erich Traub. We can find him in the depths of the National Archives and Record Administration, where I found him.
In 1971, a mysterious virus began decimating Cuba's pig population, threatening a major food source. Within 2 years, over 500,000 pigs had died or been slaughtered. The cause was African swine fever, a highly contagious and usually fatal virus. This was the first and only outbreak of swine fever in the Western Hemisphere. As a result of the epidemic, Cuba was forced to slaughter every pig on the island. How African swine flu got onto the island was a mystery. Well, a mystery to everyone except the Cubans. The Cuban government blamed the United States, specifically the CIA. After all, Operation Mongoose was well known to the Cubans. This was a covert operation initiated by the CIA in the early 1960s. Its primary objective was to remove Fidel Castro from power, and although they were never implemented, biological weapons were a part of this plan. The CIA had planned to spray botulinum toxin on the island. The justification for this is that it would save the lives of thousands of American soldiers. Cuban civilians wouldn't be so lucky. Botulinum toxin is one of the most potent toxins on Earth. Estimates put the casualty count at somewhere between 1% and 2% of the Cuban civilian population. We're talking hundreds of thousands dead. Now, luckily, Operation Mongoose ended and this never came to pass. But when a disease landed on Cuba out of nowhere, all signs pointed to the CIA. In 1977, Long Island newspaper Newsday reported 2 Cuban exiles admitted they were part of the plot. They said in early 1971, they were given the virus at Fort Gulick in Panama. They then traveled to Navassa Island near Cuba and smuggled the virus to the island. Now, there is proof that the U.S. Navy was on Navassa Island in early 1971, but they claim this was a scientific mission. though the science they were researching was looking for animal diseases that could jump to humans. Now that might be a coincidence, but there's only one place in the Western Hemisphere that has live African swine flu. That's Plum Island. And the way African swine flu is transmitted? Through ticks. This was the exact method of biological attack that Eric Traub specialized in. Of course, the CIA denied all of this, and still does, but it has to.
Now, why does the CIA have to do...
Okay, so thank you so much for paying attention to the stream here. We have reached my customary 12 hours of recording, and I'm going to stop. We're at 11 hours and 58 minutes, and I'm going to close it out here on... oh, I died somehow, because of Terrigen, yeah, okay. Yep, and I just want to remind you that you've been watching skycat.live. Sorry, skycat.live is my website. You've been watching Skycat.live. Click on the cat space to donate, as I'm not an affiliate of YouTube, but I am an affiliate of Twitch. If you'd like to come give me a sub, come talk to me. And thank you so much for your time, guys. As always, I'm across Twitch and YouTube every day, 12 hours a day. These videos will be up tomorrow. Thank you so much for all the wonderful support today. It was a really good day. I got to play some Rust and got to play some World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 11 and New World. It was a really good day, like the best I've had. It was chill. Had some rage moments over pop aggro and stuff in Rust, but hey, if it didn't affect us, it wouldn't be fun. And yep, and on that note, I'm going to bail out. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And if you enjoy my session, come back tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, and let's kick it.